before we get into this YouTube video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Now, today we're gonna be reacting to scary animation. So let's get into it.
It was the summer after graduation, and Jennifer was up late packing for a camping trip with her friends. She had the window open as she sat there folding clothes when she suddenly saw a hand coming through the gap in the screen of her window. Jennifer screamed.
This is what I don't understand. Why is your window open like that, first of all? Do you not have a mesh? Or
Then the hand flew back. She was stunned, but it could have just been her younger brother pranking her. She got up and looked out the window and saw the figure of a...
So he has a hand, your little brother has a hand like that. I'm not even gonna...
staring back at her. Jennifer ran into her brother's room but saw him there, playing video games. They called the police, who came and searched the area, but they found nothing. Officers warned her.
I hate when you call the police and you don't find any evidence that people are there.
Parents to lock the windows and doors,
what?
But the mother had a feeling that he would come back, and as it turns out, mother's intuition was right. She went outside and waited in the back porch, and after 20 minutes, she saw a man dressed in black in their backyard. He hid behind a tree.
If my mom did that outside, she would not.
The mother yelled something to the stranger.
Stay up all night. She'll be tired.
Police came back out and again found no trace of him. Jennifer never opened that window again, not even the curtains. Her parents installed some motion detecting lights, and that seemed to be the end of that. About 6 months later, Jennifer and her friend got an apartment downtown together, excited as this was their first place outside of home and they were finally living in the city. The downside was that it was street parking only, and after a few weeks, Jennifer's car was broken into. Oddly enough, nothing was taken, but...
Do you not have a lock? Or what? Do you not have a lock? A locker lock? Or not a locker lock, but do you not have keys to your car to drive around and like... What is happening?
Single Rose was sat on the passenger seat. This creeped her out for sure, but she vowed to be vigilant and safe. She always tried to park close to the entrance near the lights, but it was often difficult to get those spots and she would have to park farther away. Things quickly began escalating at this point. Jennifer's car was broken into at least once a week. Most of the time, a flower was left, but once a pair of men's underwear was there instead. And even more strange...
What? If you find that in your car... No, I'm not even gonna talk. No, never mind. No.
A bag of Tootsie Rolls, weird because it was her favorite candy. This made Jennifer wonder if the person knew her personally, and she started to become suspicious of everyone. There was a laundry machine in the basement of the apartment, and one day Jennifer went down to get a load that fit.
Oh my gosh, guys, there's an ad. Sorry. Bro, I'm so sorry it does that. My phone, hold on. I'm so sorry about that. My ad came up. I'm sorry.
She started to fold. She realized that all her bras and panties were gone. By the time the first letter arrived, she had already started making plans to move elsewhere. The letter described a love for her that had been going on for years. He noted things that proved he had been watching Jennifer closely.
You mean
Not
closely?
long after, Jennifer was able to arrange for another friend to take over her lease, and she moved in with a new friend on the other side of the city. It was a secured building and had an underground parking garage that was only accessible to tenants. She felt more secure, and the extra money spent was well worth the peace of mind. Things were quiet for a few months, and then her roommate got a boyfriend. There was something odd about Ashley's new boyfriend, and her friends were wary of him from the very beginning. For one, he reached out to her. Another reason was that Matt was very good looking, and while Ashley was a wonderful person, she wasn't the type you would typically expect someone like him to date. Ashley was thrilled. She never had a boyfriend and really felt like he was her Prince Charming. Jennifer, however, thought he was weird and creepy the moment they met. She had deleted her Facebook account when the initial stalking began, but created a dummy account to learn more about Matt. It didn't look like he really knew any of his friends in real life. There were only pictures of himself, and the rest of the information was vague. Jennifer and her friends gently tried to discourage Ashley from seeing Matt. He technically hadn't done anything wrong, but he was just so strange. She would immediately get defensive and would shut the conversation down. Matt started to spend more time at the apartment, and Jennifer found herself finding any excuse to avoid coming home. One day she came back home from work and found Matt on the couch, alone, drinking a beer. Ashley had been called into work and she told her that he could just hang out. Jennifer had no desire to spend any time with him, so she grabbed the beer and a snack and headed off to her room and shut the door. About 30 minutes or so, he knocked on Jennifer's door and suggested they watch some TV and get to know each other better because they both loved Ashley. Not wanting to engage in conversation, Jennifer focused on the movie. But at one point, she glanced over to Matt and he was staring at her with a smile on his face. Jennifer snapped at him and said, "What?" as he just continued to smile and said, "I just can't believe it." "Believed what?" He said nothing and went back to watching the movie. She had no idea what he was talking about, but the interaction had every hair standing up on her body. She excused herself and locked the door to her room. Another month or so went on, and Jennifer had managed to avoid being home for much beyond sleeping and showering. Matt practically lived there and had even brought a bunch of his things into Ashley's room. Jennifer didn't want to move again, but was beginning to look for other options. On Ashley and Matt's 6-month anniversary, there was a huge bouquet of flowers on the table and an already opened card propped up next to it. Jennifer was curious, so she opened the card and her heart started beating through her chest.
What?
Without even reading the words Matt wrote, the handwriting was exactly the same as the one her stalker had sent. Jennifer had kept them as evidence.
Hold on. I have to keep pausing on my phone. I don't know why. But...
for comparison. The handwriting was unique and identical. Matt was the stalker. Jennifer called the police, and as they were on their way, she called Ashley and asked her to come over, terrified to tell her the truth because she knew that her heart would be shattered. The police took a statement from Jennifer and went to Ashley's work to get more information from her, and ended up breaking the news. Apparently, Ashley called Matt after and left a furious message even though the cops told her not to say anything, and he completely disappeared after that. There was no Matt or anyone matching his resemblance at the place he said he worked. Ashley had never been to his apartment because he said he would be staying with his friends while trying to save money for a trip to Europe. His family lived out of state, and she said that she had never met a friend of his because he said they had a falling out because he was choosing to spend so much time with her. It was all lies, and in the end, she was dating a stranger. For all they knew, Matt may not have even been his real name. He had left a duffel bag in the apartment that was full of gym clothes, but in one compartment, there were about 10 pictures of Jennifer. All were taken from far away with the exception of one of her sleeping. The sheets were current, so it had to have been at the current apartment before she started locking her bedroom door. A few pictures dated back to before the incident at her parents' house, which was further evidence that it was him as well. 2 pairs of missing underwear were there, and Jennifer shuddered to think of what he did.
Did you have a lock?
There was also a Starbucks lid with her red lipstick marks, and a necklace she hadn't even noticed she was missing. The police never tracked
Who
them down.
doesn't know that
Jennifer
you're missing a
accepted an
necklace?
opportunity
You
overseas
wear
and
like
got
every
out
day.
of
How
there.
do you know?
But ever since then, Jennifer deleted all her social media accounts. She became very low profile, looks over her shoulder wherever she goes, as part of her continues to worry if Matt will ever resurface again.
I'm gonna watch one more because
Leah
if
was
I
a
just watch
teenager
one, it's
living
gonna be
in
a
New
short
York.
video.
She was
So
a competitive athlete in high school, and with recruiting season a year away, she was under tremendous pressure to perform well in her sport as well as in the classroom. She was struggling to keep up with calculus at the time, so her mother suggested that she get a tutor. Leah had been going to him regularly, probably 3 times a week for a month, before she met Josh. Josh had the tutoring session after, and they would cross paths every week. It had never been more than a glance and a smile, as she was incredibly shy and terrified of boys. One day, her tutor had to change his schedule and decided to book them together. Leah was shocked and delighted when Josh started chatting with her afterwards and asked for her phone number. Eventually, they both began dating. Josh went to a Catholic school in another town, but because he lived in the same town as Leah did, he took the bus every morning from her school to his. This gave them most mornings together, and he was able to meet Leah's friends. She was a little taken aback when they didn't seem to like him. Leah realized that she's been spending less time with them and assumed they were just jealous that she had a boyfriend. As time went on, things got more serious in the relationship, and that's when things began to change. While they always talked regularly, Josh started getting over the top about staying in contact with Leah. He would make her stay on the phone with him all hours of the night until eventually her mom started taking her phone away before she went to sleep.
No.
This relationship also started taking a toll on her athletic career. She was too tired to spend extra time training and started to skip practices to see him, driving 30 minutes each way to his school. Eventually, Leah's friend sat her down and told her how unhealthy this relationship had become. She had isolated herself from them, and her entire free time was spent with Josh. At this point, Leah wanted so badly to end the relationship. She had fallen out of love with him, and college applications were approaching. She had been scouted by no less than 10 colleges, and her plan was to attend Brown University, her dream school. Josh's obsession with their relationship had taken a huge toll on his grades, and Brown wasn't going to be an option for him. Leah remembered telling him that was where she was planning on going, and he freaked out, saying that he would never get in, and he begged her not to go. At the time, she was also recruited by the University of Illinois. Josh applied there in hopes that she would ditch Brown and go to Illinois with him. But that was the final straw. Leah ended things for good with Josh, assuming that would be it. Because he would take the bus from her school to his every morning, she still had to see him. His friends who took the bus with him yelled disgusting words at Leah. Josh had spread a rumor that Leah had apparently cheated on him with a bunch of guys and then ended the relationship. Leah spent months getting nasty messages accusing her of having STDs and also saying some horrifying things. Unfortunately, deleting Facebook was what set off the stalker tendencies for Josh. He wasn't able to see her face online anymore, so he started calling non-stop and sending desperate messages telling Leah that he loved her. While all of this was going on, Leah and her team was set to win the high school championship in volleyball. Josh showed up while Leah was competing and they saw each other. This shook Leah so badly that she ended up losing the title for her team, and it made her furious and heartbroken. Leah ended up picking up his call that same night and screamed at him, telling him to never contact her again. But that's when the threats began. She got a call a few nights later from Josh. After he texted her, he had something important to tell her. Stupidly, she answered, and he began to say how he was going to kill her. He was going to show up at Leah's house when her parents were at work, holding a rope and a knife, and make her suffer like she had done to him. He eventually went on to say he was going to get her before she went into school because he knew exactly where she parked every morning, and her parents were never going to find him. But what Josh didn't realize was that she had recorded what was being said the entire time and had it taped onto her phone. Leah hung up once she felt he'd said enough. The next morning, she went into school extra early, much earlier than she figured he'd be there. Leah showed the school advisor the recording. She felt a deep-rooted shame as her mom listened to the recording like she had done something to bring this onto herself.
Oh my god, sorry guys. I don't even know. Sorry.
Alarmed that he told her to go to the police immediately. Leah and her mother sat in the police station all day explaining the story of her relationship with Josh and how it got to this point. The police then drove to his high school and arrested him while he was in class. As she was bringing food back to the police station for herself and her mom, she saw Josh in handcuffs, and he indeed looked like he wanted to kill her. Post-arrest, Leah got a restraining order against Josh, and he was sent to a mental institution for a short while. It's been 10 years since this happened. Leah moved across the country where this occurred, and she finally feels safe now that she's far away. But anytime she gets a blocked call or text from a number she doesn't know, a thought goes through her head that it's him.
Good. So, we're gonna end it here. I watched too many people do dumb stuff, and I don't want to end up like them. So, we're gonna end it here. See you in the next video. Bye.